Here we are, Friday, March 15th, or the day that will be known as the sweep. Game 4 today, Thrive Fantasy head-to-head. I put Adam down.
Nah, today's a loss, man. I'm not playing any other site. I'm just solely focusing on Thrive.
Man, is that going to sting even worse if that were true?
It is true. It's not the actual reason, but it is true.
Okay. Oh, it makes me so happy. To take you out at your peak, to finish you on a sweep where you're putting nothing but your time into that is going to be so incredibly satisfying. Cannot wait. I cannot wait. Hope everybody had a good Thursday. I am very happy with mine. I don't have anything else interesting about yesterday. Weird day.
I didn't lose 5 figures, so that's a win.
Yeah, there you go. Jeremy Lin off to a good start and then stopped being off to a start, I guess.
Yeah, I actually ended up underweight on him, which I didn't think I was going to, but I was fine with once he was like 75% owned.
Yeah. So
I had like 42 on DraftKings.
Where did you end up on Gasol?
77.
Yeah. I couldn't get there in that sort of volume. That was like the first time I really had an issue with getting that much of someone that didn't have multiple eligibilities.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I got like 77 of him. I had 35 apiece of Jokic and Towns.
Yeah. So
like I was still able to get what I wanted.
Yeah, and look, it was a fantastic play. I still had a boatload. Just that's giving me pause now. It's something I want to look into more. I probably won't have enough time to do that in this season, but something to pay attention to for the 19-20 NBA season. Normal stuff. NBA Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Any package you choose, so long as it's monthly. And they can include Fantasy Cruncher. Come check all of our stuff out. And then we are brought to you on Monday, Wednesday, Friday by Thrive Fantasy. You go to bit.ly/Awesemo, which I'm pasting. Yes, heard that correctly. I'm pasting into chat. Use the code AwesemoStrat, one big word. You get a free $5. You don't even have to deposit. It's just free monies. And Thrive Fantasy is a place where I shame Adam every other day, but really it's a DFS site based on player props. So you're looking to, you get a list of 20 guys. You want to pick your favorite 10. You're looking to go over or under a certain points, rebounds, assists total. You get points whether you're right or wrong. And throughout the show, we'll pick a couple props that we want to touch on without giving away too many inside secrets. Once I put Adam down today, we can go back into more of the logistics of my Thrive prop, since I know people will want that. After seeing like a full-on sweep, I would imagine, that should get some traction. I'm such an insufferable piece of shit.
It's just going to be so fun when I come back and win this 4-3.
That's been my thought process this entire time, that I go up 3-0 and I become the Yankees.
One of the few sports bets I've ever actually won.
But wait, you had like a Red Sox series bet or something?
Yeah, I mean, in high school for like $100 with a friend.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Oh man, that must have been super satisfying.
Yeah, he was a Yankees fan. He moved to South Carolina before he paid me, but it was still pretty satisfying.
Gotcha. I'm not so nervous about this one, but if you take 4, 5 would give me nerve. Like I'd be nervous going in there.
Yeah, that's how it always is, because like this one you're not nervous. The next one you kinda not really. But then when you get to game 6, it's like, okay, wait, if I lose this one, it's a best of 1 series.
Yeah, the good news is we will not see 6 games. I'm closing you out on my home court today. I changed the narrative. You were home to start.
No, that's been your narrative.
I'm closing you out on your home court. I'm changing the narrative. I was home to start. Sorry. It's complicated when you're constantly changing things arbitrarily. Let's get into this, I think. It's gonna be a weird one tonight. News is going to play a big role. I have guys in lineups today that I did not expect to have like 2 digits of ownership next to their names. I'm nervous. Have you looked at the slate at all yet? like with any sort of. Never mind. I don't know why I asked.
I haven't run Fantasy Cruncher if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that'll work.
And yeah, I mean, I did the podcast last night. I absorbed a lot of the slate by osmosis while I slept. So yeah, I think I'm pretty well versed in it.
Okay. Hit that like button while you're on your way in the door, people. That is very helpful for us. Now let's kick it off. We've got 8 games today. We're spread out quite a bit. 3 games at 7, which is always makes me happy. I like when there's a lot early. And you'll know a lot about your status. Everything starts at 8:30 or earlier, except for the Clippers Bulls, which is at 10:30. So here we go. First game up. This is going to be contentious. The Detroit Pistons hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. 114.25 implied total for the Pistons. 106.25 for the Lakers. Let's just start here. I still have LeBron in. Do you think he sits?
The only reason I think maybe he sits is that they felt the need to announce that he was playing yesterday.
Right. Like I have him in, but I don't know what to do with that right now. Yeah,
I mean I have him in too because I haven't heard otherwise. I wouldn't even be thinking about it if they hadn't been like, oh yeah, he's in tonight.
Like if LeBron's not playing, the Pistons are bigger than 8-point favorites at home, right?
You would hope so.
So I don't know. But I feel like it's sitting in the middle ground because I find it hard to believe that the Pistons are 8-point favorites against the Lakers if LeBron plays.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that line is 5 if LeBron is in, and 12 if he's not.
Quick aside on the Lakers. I'm assuming you didn't see the post-game show on the Nuggets after the Nuggets game last night.
You did not. I know Luka hammed on somebody, and then Jokic hit a buzzer beater. But
yeah, no, Charles Barkley. I don't know how you feel about Barkley. I love Charles Barkley.
I love Barkley.
Yeah. So they're talking about. I don't even know what they're talking about, and Barkley just goes, Andre Ingram requested a trade, and Kenny Smith's like, to where? And Barkley goes, back to the G League.
That's outstanding. Yeah, I love Barkley. I love him even more after that story came out. That guy passing away and him going to the funeral and stuff. I don't know if you read that.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, the long and short of the story is Barkley, like 15 years ago, just randomly met a man at a hotel bar. They got to talking, like they enjoyed their conversation. They went and grabbed dinner, and then like they stayed in touch. This guy was just a stranger. They stayed in touch constantly. Anytime they were in the same spot, like they would meet up and get together. This guy passed away, and like Barkley went to the dude's funeral and stuff in like the middle of nowhere. Like this.
Oh wow!
Like you should really read this. It's a really really good story. But Barkley was just like, yeah, like I went because this man was a fantastic man and he deserved like my respects. So it really painted Barkley in a different light, like just to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Really good article. Okay, so I assume you also have LeBron in.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. If he's out, I mean, it really is crazy turmoil for the Lakers.
Yeah, it's a free for all on
Yeah. You're playing. You have to play multiple Lakers in that scenario after that because that is where an overwhelming amount of value will be. Let's start on the Pistons side, though. Pace up spot, fantastic defensive matchup. This in theory could be the best spot on the slate. We've got Drummond at 10K on FanDuel, Blake at 8,400. We've got Drummond at 8,800 on DraftKings, and Blake at 7,700. So I'm starting with Blake. I feel like I have to. He's not been great lately. I have 50% on FanDuel and 50% on DraftKings right now.
That seems fine.
Okay.
The price tag's just where it should be, I think. Like, I mean, it's low. Like, it's so hard for him to really fail at that price in this spot. And, Lofty pointed out on one of our shows before that teams are just defending Blake differently, and that's probably a reason that contributes pretty heavily to why his production's been so bad. But are the Lakers, A, going to even bother, and B, are they capable? So it's just such a good spot for Blake. The only real argument I could think of against him is just that he's probably going to be really, really popular, and there are other ways that you can go. But I don't know how you don't like the price tag.
Yeah, so the line now no longer where it was. It is now -11 for the Pistons. So I think that's a sign that LeBron James is not going to be playing today.
I'm really glad that I will not be playing this slate.
I'm really glad that I will be because I have a gambling problem. We have Blake at 21% on FanDuel and 26 on DraftKings. I'm very happy about those numbers because I know that I'm going to have more. I don't know what else to do. Every sign is in Blake's favor here. Except for the fact that he hasn't been good lately. Which is the least important sign to me, at least. How do you feel about Drummond?
I think that's one of the most egregious price tags of the season.
8,800 for Drummond?
8,800, yeah.
What's really crazy is, though, I have more Blake than Drummond, but I don't disagree with you. Drummond is a better play.
I'm guessing because of the position.
Correct.
Right? Like, yeah, center's insanely deep today.
Yeah. And I can put Blake in 4 spots.
Right, yeah. But I mean...
Or 5 spots. No, 4 spots.
Yeah, and any lineup that has Drummond in it, it's a lineup where I'm perfectly comfortable. Like, he should just absolutely annihilate this spot.
Yeah.
He's been playing, for as bad as Blake's been playing, Drummond's been playing that much better.
He has.
There's no reason for me not to like him. I don't know how he's not $10,000 on DraftKings yet.
I don't know how he's not $9,000 on DraftKings.
Well, right, yeah, but even if he was
let's get him to that threshold first.
Well, he was there until he kept getting 55 and 60 points. Then they had to drop him.
Well, clearly, yeah.
DraftKings pricing today is more of a joke than usual, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, that's not helpful. Not helpful at all. I'm going to have Drummond and Blake in an overwhelming amount of lineups. I assume you have no issue having them together because of where their price tags are?
Right. So the only argument I would have against having them together is that, like, the Lakers suck. And if Drummond goes for 60 and Blake goes for 50, like, how the hell are the Lakers keeping it close?
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, that's not something that I really want to factor in that much because in reality, there are plenty of ways the Lakers keep it within 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're both so cheap that there's more upside than downside to having them together.
Yeah, and more important, like, just keep an eye on how many you get together if you're max entering. So I would never set a rule for it, but, if you get 55% Blake and Drummond is in 90% of those combinations, like, maybe run 2 separate crunches and merge them so you don't get that much of overlap. But
I wish there was a way to, like, put a percentage on your groups.
Yeah, I assume that'll happen eventually.
Yeah, so do I.
It's just computationally, it's a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm actually just glad that when I said that, you weren't like, "Hey, dumbass, that's been out for a year and a half." Like, normally happens when I message you, like, "Man, I wish Cruncher did this," and you're like, "They do."
Fucking A, man. I don't know. I have just scratched myself. Anyway, not important. Yeah, not that I'm aware of. At least it would for me. It's usually just I'll run 100 of letting them get as much as they can, and then 50 where I set a rule and combine the two. Reggie Jackson is questionable. If he is out, I believe that Ish Smith is going to be hella popular for you and I. He's already hella popular on FanDuel for me.
I'm gonna have a ton of, I'm not going to have. I would have a ton of whichever guy is starting at point guard for Detroit.
Yeah, so I have Reggie in. I only gave him 26 minutes. His minutes have been down a bit lately.
I don't buy into that, by the way. But
I don't totally buy into it either. But the reason that I gave him 26 is because I still got 18% of him.
Yeah.
And if I give him the 30 that I think that I should be giving him, I'm going to have more of him than I will of Blake, and that I'm not comfortable with.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned before how I really think his minutes are just a fluke right now. They've been in so many blowouts. He's been injured in 2 different games. Then the price tag's just plummeting. So if he were to start, I would love Reggie Jackson. 4,300 on DraftKings would be outstanding. Yeah. If he's out, Ish Smith becomes a super obvious play that everyone will be on.
Yeah. Another play that I'm getting a ton of from the Pistons, Kennard at 4,400. I got 25% of him. And this is just a testament of what happens when you get a bunch of extra possessions and the other team's defense sucks. Minutes end up taking a lot of weight. So I've got Kennard in for 28 minutes, and he's looking like a value play for me right now. Now, that's going to change quite a bit when we get to the Lakers and I take LeBron out and find out that I've got 6 other dudes at that price point that are now in play. But any interest in Kennard outside of what I just...
Yeah, I mean, less than you have, but
yeah,
I don't think he's bad or anything.
Yeah, the chances of me ending up with 25% Luke Kennard by the time we get to lock are basically 0. But yeah, I'm gonna have him as of right now.
So just to kind of from a broader picture view, you hate Luka Doncic, but you like Luke Kennard
What now?
as DFS plays in general. You hate Luka and you like Luke.
Nope.
That's where we normally end up.
I love Luka constantly. I just don't love him as much as you. Okay, so that's basically this entire conversation flipped in reverse.
Yep.
I get it now. Took me a second to get there. I don't have anybody else from the Pistons. If let's say Reggie Jackson is out. Obviously, we know Ish is the biggest benefactor. Does anybody else get there? Langston Galloway, maybe?
Maybe on Galloway. I'm not sure. Kennard's taken on more ball handling responsibilities, more playmaking responsibilities this year. So I think it would be a benefit for him.
Oh, you love Luke Kennard.
Galloway, I assume, would get more minutes.
I'm just trying to spitball like where I think those minutes are going to go.
Yeah, like Galloway would become the backup point guard, I assume. Or no, Calderon. Is Calderon still active and alive?
Fuck if I know, man. They only break him in case of emergency usually. He played 3 minutes on March 10th.
Okay, so yeah, Calderon would be the backup point guard.
Yeah. Okay, so then that probably wouldn't end up mattering all that much. Ish becomes awesome. Calderon soaks up all the backup stuff. There's probably an extra minute or two to go around, but
it's March DFS. Calderon scores 45 points.
Yeah, okay. Over under 45 points for the rest of Jose Calderon's career.
How much longer is he under contract with the Pistons?
I don't know. Let's check.
Reggie Jackson and Ish Smith, neither one can stay healthy, so I would take the over.
Jose Calderon's contract. He is a free agent after this year.
Oh man, I don't know. I guess I'd have to take the under.
Hey Thrive, can we get a prop on Jose Calderon's literal total fantasy points for the rest of his life? If he starts playing in Spain or something again when he's 44 years old, I want to play that DFS. Okay. I think it's now abundantly clear with an 11-point line that LeBron James is not going to play. I think this would be a fun exercise. Let me know if you want to do it. I'm putting you on the spot. Do you want to take him out and reproject minutes with me?
Sure.
Okay. Look behind the curtain, so to speak.
I don't want to project minutes with him in.
Well, neither do I. So, oh God, I don't even know where to start.
Exactly. This isn't even like a look behind the curtain. This is just like us saying, I don't know, like this looks fine.
All right, who is the biggest benefactor for LeBron James being out today?
KCP.
Yeah, I would agree. He's got to play, 30-something minutes?
He doesn't have to. He is as likely as anyone.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh my God, I don't even know where to go here. Let's start with JaVale.
Okay, hang on. So start in the front court because so you can assign a few less minutes to the wings if you think that to match up with Drummond and Blake, you get more McGee plus Wagner or McGee plus Williams or Williams plus Wagner lineups.
Which is what you would expect to happen.
Right.
Right? Like Andre, like Drummond is going to smush everybody on the Lakers that isn't JaVale.
Right.
Just full stop.
Side note, JaVale is a really good value play, I think, especially in tournaments. Like, obviously, there's no floor, but yeah.
I mean, do we think Tyson Chandler gets time today?
Is he hurt or just... No,
questionable.
I think at this point, Williams is ahead of him. Wagner's ahead of him. Maybe he could take Muscala's 2 minutes.
I was thinking of it more just for today because of Drummond.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like, he is uniquely set up for this particular spot to be a guy that can soak that shit up.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually.
I think we see Chandler if he's healthy for at least a rotation. There's basically no reason. If Tyson Chandler doesn't play today and he's done. Like, he will just not be on the floor again today. This is the spot of all spots for Tyson Chandler to be used. Oh my. Okay, so like what we got 19 out of JaVale last night, 33 the game before that. He's been all over the map in terms of minutes.
So JaVale didn't play the fourth last night. Neither did Marc Gasol. I think JaVale would have gotten like 24 minutes last night, I think, if Gasol closed.
So I have to assume that he would get more than that today?
I
Or
would.
at the minimum?
24 would be like my median McGee projection. But on most players, my median projection is like a minute or two either direction. McGee, it's like 6.
I have him in for 26 right now.
Yeah, that seems fine.
I gave Chandler 8. Do you think we see Kuzma at the 5 at all today?
No.
Okay. I'm getting where... So, if I said 26 JaVale, 8 Tyson Chandler, 14 Mo Wagner, does that work?
Sure.
Okay. And we're mostly set up then. I gave KCP 26. I gave Lance Stevenson 8. I've got Kuzma in for 32. I mean, that number can be 38 pretty realistically. I don't know. I don't necessarily know what they're trying to do. Maybe 34 is a little bit more realistic.
Yeah. So here's my thing, just from a broader standpoint.
Yeah.
Obviously, if LeBron's out, there's a ton of usage to go around and all that. But if everyone's gonna go to Lakers value, I don't think it's totally necessary because they still have so many different bodies that can play 25 minutes. Like you could just so easily get 26 minutes from like everyone.
Yeah.
Like all the value guys, to where everyone rosters these guys in a shitty matchup and they all score 18 to 22 points, and you just have such a leg up on the field if you just like faded the team entirely.
I don't disagree with that.
Obviously, it can go really poorly, but it's just not a spot where, because of the matchup and because of the players that benefit, I'm just not convinced that it's a spot where we should necessarily be flocking, even though most people will.
No, that makes perfect sense. So I think I've got something in here that looks decent. 34 Kuzma, 30 to Rondo, 26 to JaVale, 30 to KCP, which is scary. 26 to Bullock, 26 to Hart, 22 to Caruso, and then we're down into the guys that don't matter much. Mo Wagner, Jonathan Williams, Lance, Tyson Chandler. Kuzma's going to look good regardless, particularly on FanDuel, 6,300. I think JaVale is an interesting tournament play. I think Reggie Bullock for 3,600 on FanDuel is a fantastic drop option for, well, as fantastic as someone that's not a great fantasy player can be.
Revenge narrative.
Exactly, revenge narrative. So what stands out for you for the Lakers if you wanted to, if you were playing and LeBron is out?
JaVale McGee.
Okay.
Yeah, Kuzma, Rondo, 62 and 64. Obviously, that'd be fine. If you're max entering, like having just spreading your exposure out amongst these sub 4K guys makes a lot of sense. But if I were like hand building a lineup in a large field tournament, I think the first place I would probably start is just fading all these guys and hoping that they all just are mediocre.
Yeah, nobody's really great. Like Kuzma obviously is going to grade out pretty well anytime you get a decent player with a couple extra minutes. Nobody's really grading out like crazy for me outside of KCP, and him getting 30 minutes is not at all set in stone. So it's not as if I'm comfortable with it. It might not open up all that much outside of like being a little bit more interesting on FanDuel for some of those sub 4K guys.
Right. Let's see.
And it's not a great spot. Like 104.75 implied total is the second worst. The Pistons defense has been really good as of late. It's a massive pace down spot for the Lakers. All the signs point against it. And
yeah,
their best player on the team is probably like the fourth best player on a good team.
Right. And that's kind of why I'm where I am, as far as just like, I'm not, even if LeBron's out, I'm not really that excited about it because, they have so many bodies that can just soak up minutes. It's a bad matchup. These guys aren't good players, like on a per minute basis. It's not like they have guys on their bench where it's like, oh, now that outside of Mo Wagner, who probably isn't really affected, it's not like they have guys where it's like, man, he produces at such a high clip. I wish he got more minutes. Like,
yeah.
They all
only
suck.
JaVale is above a point per minute over the last 30 days.
Yeah. So it's the type of spot where, I mean, if everyone were to just be like, yeah, LeBron's out, I don't care, then I'd be okay. I'm going to take a shot on a bunch of these guys. But that probably won't happen because you're just going to have people like, oh, LeBron's out. There's so much value here, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to get a bunch of guys that like 6 or 7x their salary, which people think is good. But when that equates to like 22 fantasy points, it's not really useful.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm with you there. JaVale is the one that's grading out the best for me. That's where we're at, everybody. Pour one out for the Los Angeles Lakers. Moving on. Unless you have any other Lakers or Pistons takes.
So, like, if LeBron sits, they still have like 11 or 12 bodies.
Yeah, I gave 11 guys minutes.
Yeah.
Nobody like getting like minimum rotation 8 minutes. And who knows how many? Like Lance could play 26 minutes today. I have no idea. They play him in really weird shit when he's healthy.
Even if Lance and Chandler are out, they have like 11 bodies.
Yeah.
Right. Rondo, Kuzma, McGee, Hart, KCP, Bullock, Wagner, Caruso, Williams, Muscala, Ingram is still 11 bodies.
Yeah, I didn't give any minutes to Muscala or Ingram, but they can certainly get a couple. Yeah, how do they have so many people? So many injuries too.
Right. And is Bonga up right now?
I think he got in a couple days ago.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He played on the 9th.
Okay, yeah. So the point just being like,
but he might have had to go down to bring Ingram up.
It's possible. But the point being, like, this is not one of those spots where it's like, okay, no matter, it's not a Memphis Grizzlies from a couple years ago spot where it's like, okay, no matter how this game goes, no matter what is happening, these guys have to play 38 minutes because they have literally 7 of them.
Yeah.
That's not the case here.
Yeah, the ambiguity in most of these guys' minutes is really difficult. We'll know more tonight, I hope. The best part of this is the fact that it's a 7 o'clock start. If this were a game in LA and it kicked off at 10 o'clock, it would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. The best part of this is that we just spent all that time, and in like 2 hours, it's going to be like LeBron playing.
Yeah. Oh, God. Philly and Sacramento. 121.25 implied total for the Sixers. 111.75 for the Kings. Big time total there for the Sixers. Number 1 on the slate, I might add. Or at least it was when I entered this stuff. Massive pace up spot. Got the entire band together here. Embiid, Simmons, Butler, Harris, Redick. We'll start at the top with the big man. 10-9 on FanDuel. 9,900 on DraftKings. I'm a little surprised. I didn't get as much as I thought I would. I only got 4% on FanDuel and 6% on DraftKings. How do you feel about Embiid?
So when we did the podcast last night, I saw his price immediately when I pulled up center and was just like, what the hell? Like, how is Embiid not one of the best plays on the slate? And then by the time I was done talking about center, I figured it out. But, it's a perfect example of, I said the DraftKings pricing today is even worse than usual. And it is. You have Embiid for less than $10,000 in a phenomenal matchup against Sacramento. And he's just another guy because he's
miles behind Andre Drummond.
Right. Yeah. You have Drummond for 1,100 less. You have Nurkic at 7,400 against New Orleans. You have 2 or 3 other guys that I can't think of right now that are underpriced in really good spots. So yeah, Embiid's my favorite guy from the Sixers. I would be happy with any Embiid. It's just that I don't think it's a situation where I'm just like jamming Embiid in at the expense of other guys.
Yeah, I would have thought I would. Just like without having context. But like there are 2 better centers on the Pistons. I don't even have to one team has 2 guys that I like more than Embiid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky. He's at 17% expected ownership on DraftKings. I'm just not going to end up getting there because there are way too many options. It has nothing to do with Embiid's individual projection. But context has changed so much over this season and the way that we look at pricing that it's honestly really hard to recalibrate my brain.
Yeah, so I just kind of updated Embiid's rates since the deadline, and I got him looking at DraftKings pricing and keeping in mind that I updated his, but everything else is my baselines.
Yeah.
I have Embiid right behind Drummond as the second best center right now.
You're talking points per dollar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, kind of.
Sure. I have him behind Drummond, behind Blake. I mean, I've got him behind a lot of guys. Most of them are just like coin flips. I have him legitimately behind Drummond, Blake, JaVale, and Willie Hernan Gomez. And then it's like coin flips on Nurkic, Portis, Harrell, DeAndre Jordan.
Okay, so yeah, I'm definitely higher on Embiid than you are.
What do you have him projected for?
56 DraftKings.
Yeah, 53.6. I like him. It's just a tough fit for me. I'm not really getting much of Philly, and it sucks because this is Sacramento Kings on a back-to-back, like in a pace-up spot.
Top 10 defense in the NBA right now.
Yeah, they are. They have been better than the Sixers over their last 15 games from a fantasy perspective. Hash out Simmons, Butler, and Harris for me. Any interest in any of these guys?
Interest, yeah. Priority, probably not.
Yeah.
Just because everyone is healthy. You have an appealing price tag on Redick, but with everyone back, his usage should go back down. Butler has not been great since Harris was acquired. Harris
has not been great since Harris was acquired.
Remember when he was shooting 67%?
He's at 0.98 fantasy points per minute over the last 30. And just in case anybody's curious, the last 30 days is all of the trade deadline. So
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bunch of. It's an appealing game, very appealing game. But I just think that, and again, especially like I'm looking at DraftKings pricing, there are so many just clearly underpriced guys on this slate.
Yeah.
Outside of Embiid, I don't think any of those guys are on the Sixers.
I agree. I don't mind having any one of. I don't really like Harris for $7,200 on DraftKings. The $6,900 tag on FanDuel is way more appealing, but I got Ben Simmons to 11% on DraftKings. That's the highest of any of the big five on either site. I don't see it, and I want to more than anything.
On DraftKings, I have them ranked Embiid, massive drop, Simmons, Butler, slight drop, Harris, drop to Redick.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any other hot takes. Jimmy Butler for $32 on Yahoo seems okay. I don't know.
Sure.
Go to Sacramento. $8K for De'Aaron Fox on FanDuel. $6,900 on DraftKings. He's at 15% and 18% respectively. I got 1 and 2. You liking Fox at all?
More than that, probably. Especially at 6,900. Like he's the same price as Chris Paul somehow, which is dumb. So he wouldn't be my highest owned guy at that price point, but I do think that it's an appealing matchup. I do think that he's good. I'd probably have more than 1%.
There's just too many other dudes around him. Like, I might rather have CJ McCollum for 6,800. You talked about Chris Paul. Lou Will is 71.
Yeah, that's all reasonable.
Satoransky 58 if you want to go all the way down. Levine at 7,800. Kemba at 82. Everybody's just so soft.
He's definitely not my favorite play on his own team.
No, that would be Buddy Hield.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, 6,800 for Hield on FanDuel continues to just be a price that you can't ignore. I got 30% of Hield on FanDuel. I got 16 on DraftKings. We're projecting 9. I don't love 7,100 for Hield on DraftKings, especially with the way that everybody else is priced. But what'd you say?
You said you do love it or do not love it?
I don't love 7,100 for him in comparison, but it's not stopping me. Like I said, I got 16%, and that's more than the field. So I'm there.
I think it's a very bad price tag. Like bad as in DraftKings is stupid. But it's just not as bad as some others.
Right.
Like he was 7,300 yesterday against Boston, and I thought he was clearly underpriced.
Yep.
And made fun of it, and then it went down $200.
Yeah. I don't think that Buddy Hield is as egregiously underpriced as a lot of guys on DraftKings.
Right.
He's like the first step, and there are guys at like step 2 and step 3.
like if this were a couple years ago when DraftKings had like a competent pricing team, he would be standing out, jumping off the page. Now it's just like, they tried. They didn't even try on some guys.
Right. And Hield is a guy that I will naturally get a lot of, and it's something that I've been touching on so much lately. He's shooting guard, small forward. When you can put someone into 5 of the 8 roster spots, that carries so much weight. At least it does to me.
Yep.
Do you think Bagley plays?
I think he plays. I don't think he plays. I assume it's similar to last night.
Yeah, I gave him 20 again.
Yep.
I was really surprised to see Bjelica continue to get a ton of run.
Yeah, so was I.
I didn't expect them to take that run from Bogdan. I also didn't expect Yogi Ferrell to not play in lieu of Alec Burks, but that doesn't really matter all that much.
Right.
Do you think that B. Jelly's here to stay?
Long term, no. Right now, yes.
Okay.
I think that once Bagley's, assuming that at some point they decide to not limit Bagley, I assume that he just kind of takes all those minutes back. But for right now, like Bielitsa has been playing well enough, and why not?
So how many minutes did you give to Bjelica here?
27.
See, I gave him 17. So I wasn't comfortable with it. I just didn't know what to do. I gave Fox 33. So this is something I need to walk through. Fox 33, Hield 35, Willie Cauley-Stein 28, Giles 20. Those guys, I don't think we have any disagreement in with any sort of like monster problem. Right. What do you have for Bogdan?
Like 24.
Okay, I gave him 28.
I more or less replicated last night's game with the exception of I'm not projecting Bogdan for 18 minutes.
I mean, yeah, I didn't even feel like I could go to 24, but that might just be happening.
I mean, it's either him or Bjelica basically. Like Bagley's going to get his 19 or 20.
Yeah, I gave Bagley 20.
Like 24 on Bogdan really might be high.
I mean, the real issue here is that they're playing Corey Brewer at all.
Yeah, 10 minutes there. But like he played.
Yeah, but like he should just just take 10 minutes from Corey Brewer and give them to Bogdanovich.
But they played at the same time.
Really?
Yeah, because Bogdan came off the bench.
1, 2, 3, 4. Run the 9-man rotation and figure it out. Damn you, Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making me pull his minutes down. I'm gonna go to 24. I'm not comfortable with it.
I really think 24 is probably high, but
yeah,
it at least accounts for the fact that there's no guarantee that he runs the same rotation today.
So that gets me to Bjelica at 21. So we're still off somewhere. Do you have Barnes at 36, or have you brought him down as well?
I have Barnes at 36.
Okay. I gave 15 to Farrell and 8 to Corey Brewer. I don't care if they go to Farrell or Alec Burks. That's not really the point.
Yeah, I would take 5 minutes off Farrell. Or I guess so.
Who's been running backup point?
Yeah, never mind. I forgot you had Fox at 33. I meant like 35 or 36.
Oh, I should have him at 35.
Yeah.
This isn't impacting anybody else. I didn't. 37, 38, 37, 35 is the last 4. Damn. This is why we do this.
So yeah, Farrell or Burks should have the backup.
Yeah, I gave Farrell 13. I did. Look, we're not worried about that all that much. How many did you gave Bjelica 27? Where are they coming from? I'm out of minutes now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they have to be. Where?
Did you not project Corey Brewer?
No, what it is I have Farrell too low. So yeah, I have to take those minutes from Bogdan basically.
God, are they really going to play him less than 20 minutes?
See, if I cut him to 20, I think it works.
I can get Bjelica to 25 if I cut Bogdan to 20. Does any of it matter? $5,200 for Bielitsa on FanDuel, 46 on DraftKings. Do you get him in any of these scenarios?
Not a lot. He
Okay.
comes out as like a neutral play.
Okay. Do you like anybody else from Sacramento?
Not really. Heald's number 1, Fox number 2, and then everyone else I don't really care.
I have a little interest in Harry Giles at 3,700.
Okay.
Nothing crazy, but on the off chance that Embiid fouls up Willie Cauley-Stein and Harry Giles gets to 24 or something, I'll be happy-ish. Oh man, I guess I'll try to give him 3 more minutes, but I got him up to 23. I don't know what else to do. Weird day. Let's get out of this game. Weird start between the Lakers and the Kings, just like having very big. That's March basketball for you.
Yep.
Washington Wizards hosting the Charlotte Hornets. 117.75 implied total for the Wizards. 114.25 for the Hornets. We got Beal, 10-8 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DraftKings, 48 on Yahoo. I've got myself some Beal. I've got a lot of Washington here today. How you feeling on Beal?
I don't know how much I would get because of how underpriced other players are. I would rather have Embiid than Beal at the same price point.
Yeah.
But I think that it is appealing for Beal. 9,500 is lower than he really should be. He's going to play 39, 40 minutes. He's been very productive regardless of matchup. There's no real reason for me not to like him here. It's just, how much can I get when there are so many just clearly egregiously priced plays on the slate?
I think he's my favorite shooting guard.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah. The problem is that he's only a shooting guard. I can't imagine how much Beal I would get if I could put him in a point guard too. Yeah, I like him. Public's at 16 on FanDuel, 18 on DraftKings. I don't want it to sound anything crazy. Like that's where I'm at. So Portis 6,900 on FanDuel, 6,100 on DraftKings. I'm with the field there. He's at 19 on DK.
Yeah, I like this as a spot for Portis to bounce back.
Yeah.
Thomas Bryant played great in the last game.
Where did that one come from?
Yeah, it just goes back to Washington has a bunch of interchangeable pieces in their front court, and Scott Brooks is going to play hot hand, as he really probably should. Bryant was coming off of a terrible game, and then he came out and, against a bigger Orlando front court, played really, really well. Now you have Charlotte, who is smaller, will willingly play small, has probably no Cody Zeller, so they don't even really have a center. Hernan Gomez, but whatever. It's a spot where I expect Portis to bounce back. Obviously, again, just set a rule so that you don't get Portis and Bryant together because they cannibalize each other's minutes. Charlotte is a really good matchup for whoever does get the center minutes. My best guess is that the bulk goes to Portis.
Yeah, I gave him 29.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Satoransky for 5,800 is probably my favorite play from the Wizards.
Over Beal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there. I have him pretty far behind Beal.
I need to figure out a different way to say what I mean. It's a weird way to say that. Like Beal grades out in a vacuum better than Satoransky does position by position. I get more of Satoransky because I can get more of Satoransky because of eligibility.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how to... I have to say it like that because they're two separate answers. I have Beal as a better dollar for dollar value. If you were playing... I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. You're saying when you factor in how often you can get to someone because of the position that he plays and what positions he's eligible at.
Right. I got 39% Satoransky on my first crunch.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't crunched yet, but I would be surprised if I got that high.
Yeah. I'm surprised that I got that high, to be perfectly clear here. But, 35 minutes at slightly north of 8.5 fantasy points per minute. It adds up.
What?
Slightly
north of 8.5 fantasy points per minute?
I don't know why I said it like that. I have no idea. It's been a long week, man. I'm not at my best. I'm not going to lie. The wife was gone too long, and my brain just went to mush. All I did was like look at spreadsheets and watch basketball, and I like forgot how to talk.
It's all good, man.
Got him at 0.91 fantasy points per minute for today, which is exactly how I should have said that shit from the beginning. Good Lord. We got a little bit of Ariza. I got a lot of bit of Jabari on FanDuel. Again, not comfortable with that, but what do you think of him for 5,800? Same price on DraftKings.
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other.
I have him more than I have anything else from the Wizards on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean that seems fair when you consider the position.
Yeah. Scares me. What are you doing with Jeff Green? Same as usual?
Yeah, I have him basically neutral.
Okay. Lots to like, though, for Washington, as per usual. 117.75 implied total will do that for you.
Trevor Ariza, last I saw, questionable as well. I assume he plays because it's Trevor Ariza.
Right.
But he sat, it would just kind of solidify minutes for the front court guys, but also you would get $3,000 Troy Brown as probably a better value option than the guys on the Lakers.
How many minutes do you think Troy Brown gets to in that spot, or do they end up giving a lot to Decker?
I think Brown would get – well, Decker was out last game, so he is probably questionable too.
Sure.
But Brown, I think, is the guy that they would want to give them to. Like, I could see 22 to 24 minutes for Brown.
Okay.
He's been Ariza's direct backup. He was their, believe it or not, their first-round pick. They've just refused to play him all season long.
Did he go to SMU?
He went to Oregon.
I don't know who I'm picturing.
I think.
Either way.
Yeah, I'm like 95% sure he went to Oregon.
That works for me.
He's been like a point per minute guy when he gets the minutes. He's at 0.9 points per minute over his last 9 games. So, yeah, he would just at 3K be a nice value guy.
The hell am I getting tagged in? Yeah, EMAC. Okay. What up, EMAC? Josh, are you rocking a Nicholas Skidishvili shirt or Mutombo? It's Mutombo. I wish that it was Skidishvili, but it's not. Man, what a busted pick that was. All right, we'll go to Charlotte. Pace up spot for the Hornets. 9,200 on FanDuel for Kemba Walker. 8,200 on DK. I'm not getting as much as I thought I would have. Surprise, surprise. It's a popular story here. Kemba Walker is mildly underpriced on DraftKings. And since everybody is, apparently no one is.
Right. Yeah, it's a nice price point on Kemba. It's a nice matchup overall, obviously. Huge pace up spot. Washington defense sucks at everything almost. The one thing they're good at is the one that defending is the one thing Kemba does all the time. Washington has actually been a top team on a points per possession basis against the pick and roll this year. Kemba is the league leader in pick and roll possessions per game. He's one of the most efficient pick and roll ball handlers in the league as well. Play type data isn't something that I really like. It's not like I'm saying, oh, don't play Kemba because of this. It's something that's worth knowing when you're talking about what I assume is going to be a very popular Kemba Walker. If you just kind of needed something in your head to make you comfortable with like matching the field or being a little bit underweight and going to other guys, that stat is there.
He's at 21% on DK right now. I got 13.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Like the point guard position on DraftKings and the center position especially, I wouldn't want to get bogged down in names or stuff like that, like saying like, oh, I want this guy, I want that guy. I would probably just end up letting projected ownership kind of dictate where I come in, because you have so many guys that are comparable when you factor in price that no matter who it is, you could probably come out ahead by like matching the field on the highest owned guys and then being able to be overweight on all the lower owned guys.
Yeah, like Kemba is projected for 21% ownership. Devin Booker, $100 cheaper, 5% ownership.
Right. Yeah, there's no way that difference should be that big.
Right. Zach LaVine is $400 cheaper for whatever you think of LaVine. But even Ben Simmons being $300 more expensive. It's just everybody's there. It's a weird. You can just go so many different directions now. It's craziness. I have a lot of this Hornets team though, outside of Kemba. 6,400 on FanDuel, 5,800 on DK. Jeremy Lamb, I got him in for 31 minutes. He's popping up quite a bit for me. You liking Lamb?
Yeah, really good Jeremy Lamb spot. We talked about it before the last game against Washington, and if I remember right, he went insane. But the best spots to roster Lamb are, obviously against poor defensive teams, but also in matchups where he can just pick up increased peripherals. Washington's a very bad rebounding team. Normally, when you see big games from Lamb, part of it's because he grabs more rebounds than normal. So I do really like the spot for Lamb.
Lamb went for 50 DK points on March 8th against the same Wizards team. 19 points, 10 boards, 8 of 8 from the line. 2 steals, 3 blocks. I can assume we don't get that out of him. Kareem Hunt suspended 8 games.
That is not as many as I was expecting.
Yeah.
Browns are going to be so good this year.
You would think.
I hope. It's going to be really disappointing if they're not.
I don't like that it's like a popular to like them now.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Anyway. I don't have as much Batum as I thought I would have today. 6K on FanDuel, 5,600 on DraftKings. He's just kind of there. I'm with the field, and that makes me happy.
Right. So the thing for me is I think he's a perfectly fine play because he plays a million minutes and Washington sucks. But it's still Nick Batum, and there are so many underpriced high upside guys. Like Jeremy Lamb scores 50 more than Batum does.
Sure.
They're basically the same price. Marvin Williams, we haven't gotten to. He's $1,000 less.
Yeah, about that. I got 49% Marvin Williams.
I don't blame you.
He's at 30 right now on DK, $4,600. Got him playing 34 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. Get yourself some Marvin Williams, people.
Yeah, it's another one where it's just a perfect matchup for him. If you were to draw out who you want Marvin Williams against, it would be teams that can't defend against threes and teams that can't rebound. And Washington checks off both those boxes.
Yeah, pretty aggressively, too.
Yeah. Washington plays small. Cody Zeller's doubtful, so you should get plenty of center minutes from Marvin Williams as well. There's really no reason for me not to like Marvin Williams here.
Can you imagine going back like 10 years? I think that's about how long he's been in the league or so. And saying, like, we're going to have a nice center matchup today. Wizards versus Hornets. It's going to be Marvin Williams versus Jeff Green. And you'd be like, what the fuck? What happened to basketball?
They were both drafted as threes.
Right. Yeah.
And not like, they were threes, right?
Essentially, yeah. Well, I would have said Marvin Williams was probably like a 3.5.
Right.
That was like, does he have a position?
Was Green like a 2-3?
I would have said just straight 3 in my head. But then again, Kevin Durant came into the league and played shooting guard for PJ Carlesimo, so who the fuck knows? Yeah, I have a ton of Marvin Williams. Willie Hernan Gomez. How many minutes did you give him?
24.
I gave him 22. I got 56% on FanDuel, 37 on DK. We're projecting him at 40% on DraftKings right now. Clearly the chalk option on DK.
Yeah, even if I went to 22, I think I'd get plenty.
Yep.
It's just one of those where, for one, Hernan Gomez is actually a productive player on a per minute basis, which is nice. He's played 314 minutes alongside Kemba this season. He's averaged 1.12 DraftKings points per minute. But also, there's just such a big difference in what you need and how often you can get there between like a $3,200 guy and a $4,200 guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really goes overlooked a lot, but that's like the biggest $1,000 that there is. So it's just really hard for him not to give you an acceptable score at 3,200.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a really good per minute guy.
Yep.
When he's on the floor. Every minute he plays is massive.
Yep.
If he somehow gets to like 28 or something, it's both a combination of it's probably going well for him, and you're like it. Oh, he can. I mean, he could easily have a 40 point fantasy day here at 3,200 if playing time shakes out differently. And it's available. He can pretty much play as many minutes as he'd like at center if things are going well.
I feel comfortable that he will be in the game stack that I make of this game.
I will certainly have quite a bit here.
The only lineup that I'm playing tonight.
Sun screwed up taking Ayton over Bagley. That's a quote in YouTube chat, followed up by Ayton's 47 years old. That's why.
I think the Kings and the Suns both screwed up.
Yeah.
And I like Ayton and I like Bagley.
Yeah. They didn't screw up taking Ayton over Bagley. They screwed up by taking anyone over Luka.
I still can't believe people think that Trae Young's like closing the gap on Rookie of the Year.
They're not even in the same stratosphere.
Trae Young's great.
Yeah. Trae Young was the worst player in the league for the first 3 months of the year based on RPM.
Right. Yeah, and Trae Young's great offensively. Trae Young still cannot play defense.
No, and basically never will.
Right.
So there's that. Not that Luka is some lockdown defender, but
he's not the worst defender in the NBA.
No, he's not. Okay. Moving on. Unless you have anything else, any Frank Kaminsky takes or something.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, if you were looking for a pivot off Hernan Gomez, the first spot I'd go to is Kaminsky.
Yeah.
But they're not even in the same price range because he's $1,300 more on DraftKings.
So he's $4,200 on FanDuel.
He's what?
$4,200? $300 cheaper than he is on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice price tag. You still need, obviously, things to go in your favor.
Sure.
If you wanted a direct pivot off Marvin Williams, I think Kaminsky's the guy.
Yep. I agree. Alrighty, heading to the 8 o'clock games. Hit that like button, people. We're at an hour already, but there's between the Lakers and the Kings, there's just a lot in those early games. Not as much here. Houston Rockets hosting the Phoenix Suns. 119 implied total for the Rockets, 106 for the Suns. Honestly, I'm surprised this line isn't 20.
Yeah.
Is it 20? Did I type it in wrong? Nope, 13. Spot on. There we go. James Harden is 12.5 on FanDuel, 11K on DK, $57 on Yahoo. Phoenix Suns defense is the worst on the slate. A little bit of a faster paced game for Houston. I didn't get to much Harden on FanDuel, which kind of surprised me. Only 5%, but I got 20 on DraftKings. I don't mind paying the 11K tag here.
Yeah, not at all. I really struggled with what to do with this on the podcast because you have him at 11K in a great matchup. You have Giannis at 10-9 in a shit matchup, but it's still Giannis at 10-9.
Yeah.
And so, but there's not, like, outside of Hernan Gomez, there's not great value, at least as of right now. And there is a just super, super underpriced mid-range. So it comes down to, Harden obviously can go for, 80 points. But do you get more upside by going Harden and, KCP or something? Or by going, Paul and Booker? Or Paul and Kemba or something?
Yeah. I love James Harden so much today. And he grades out as the best point guard / shooting guard on the slate for me, except for one guy.
Bradley Beal?
Nope, he's on his team. Chris
How
Paul.
many favorite shooting guards do you have?
Basically, I mean, those are just the three, basically.
Okay.
I got 22% to Harden, 20% to Beal, and then, I'm down in the Lamb, Satoransky area.
Okay.
I don't really have much Lillard. I don't have any DeRozan, so it's...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to play Paul and Harden together, though, right?
Chris Paul is $6,900 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
I don't think it's outlandish because of his price.
I just
if he
don't
were
know.
8K like he should be.
Right. I'm thinking more about Harden. So let's say Paul gets his 40. Cool. How is Harden getting to 80?
I mean, does he have to get to 80 is the
On
question?
the slate, probably. Not 80, 70 plus.
I have his target at 69.
But relative
Come
to
on. Where you at on that one?
But relative to everyone else, oh, sorry, I wasn't even really paying attention.
You're good.
Yeah. It reminds me of the spot with Westbrook last night, where in the third or fourth quarter of that game, people are DMing me man, I wish I had more Westbrook. Do you have any Westbrook? And I'm just no, I don't. And I'm sitting there watching Kyrie just go absolutely nuts for 2K less.
Right.
Westbrook isn't really going to matter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about Harden here. Like, unless he drops 70 plus, I don't think Harden matters.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So I got 20 Harden, I got 40 CP3.
I just don't think that I would want them together, even though CP3, even though they're both underpriced, unless I had like Devin Booker on the other side or
Yeah.
Devin Booker plus 8 or something like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be my first build getting them together.
Yeah.
I think, you're looking for what, like 115 out of the two of them? I think that's feasible.
But it's not even 100. You can't even like completely look at it like that, because
Sure.
if like, just hypothetically, let's say Harden went for 100 and Paul went for 15, you're still screwed.
Right. I think 70 and 45 is like a realistic outcome for those two.
Yeah, so that's what I would like.
That's what you're shooting for.
Right, that's what I'd say you're shooting for. And so then the follow-up though is like, how the hell does that happen unless Devin Booker scores 60?
Yeah, that's reasonable. Look, if I were playing 150, I assume I'd have a couple. They wouldn't be the first two pieces I put in to try to build around.
Right.
And I would start with Paul before I started with Harden.
Agreed. And on a side note, if you're like hand building some lineups, I think this is actually a really good game stack.
I don't disagree. Is Chris Paul the best player on the slate?
That's really tough because there's so many just really good plays. I don't think he's the best player on the slate. I think that he might be the best. Him and Hernan Gomez are probably the two, like the first two cash plays on the slate.
What's really funny is that we didn't even mention Blake.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah, or Drummond.
Fuck, I think I just froze my sheet. Glad I saved it first.
So, which again, just kind of that quick conversation goes back to where, as much as I like Harden, I don't know how useful he is. Like, you can just immediately go like Chris Paul, Hernan Gomez, Drummond, Blake on DraftKings.
Yep.
Have a really nice core to start out with. And you can't get the Harden with that core, but you can still fit in a bunch of really good pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. There's more ceiling in grabbing a bunch of 6 to 9K guys now.
Right.
Do you have any interest in anything else from Houston?
It's a good spot for Capella, but I would rank him behind like a bunch of other centers. And then outside of that, no, I don't.
Yeah, I still don't know what to do with Capella. It's making it easier that I don't necessarily trust his health, and he's just center eligible, so that I can pretty easily just not have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's 7,300. Nurkic is 7,400.
Yeah.
I will take Nurkic.
Right. I mean, I'd rather have Blake
I'd rather have Nurkic
than Capella.
and Blake.
You'd rather have... Wait, what are you saying?
I'd rather have Nurkic than Blake.
Okay, I'm saying I'd rather have Blake than Capella.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm saying I'd rather have Nurkic than both of them.
That's fine.
Okay.
I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? I was like, who's on first? Okay. Let's get out of this Houston side. We'll head over to Phoenix. Pace down. Houston defense has been really good lately. 4% better than average, giving up fantasy points on a per possession basis. 106 implied total. Only behind the Knicks and the Lakers. Classic franchises. 8,700 for Booker. 81 on DK. 39 on Yahoo. I basically don't have him.
I would have to basically be intentionally like pivoting from Kemba to him at the same price, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I have Kemba clearly as a better play. I also think that if I roster Booker, it's a spot where I would want to run it back with at least one of Paul, Capella, Harden. Just because, again, this game has so much blowout potential. It also has shootout potential. And if it does shoot out, the most likely reason is that Devin Booker is having one of his games. But if he has one of his games, it's probably a close game, and you're probably getting a full allotment of minutes from $6,900 Chris Paul.
I'm with you. I have 7% DeAndre Ayton on DraftKings where he's 6,100. I don't have anybody else on either site more than that. Do you like anybody here?
Not really. It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I dislike them. It's that I just think there are better plays than everyone. Like, there's just guys that project better.
Sure. Got a couple props that we could take a look at.
Cool.
James Harden. Points. 37.5. You get 105 for the over. How you feeling on James Harden today?
Let's see. I'm inclined to take the under because so I have him projected for 37.3 points in 36 minutes. There's obviously a good chance he doesn't play 36 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I would lean to the under as well. We got another one in this game. DeAndre Ayton rebounds. Over under 9.5.
cool.
With 105 on the over.
I have it 9.3.
Yeah, I would be taking the over on this particular prop. Might just be one of the props I use today to put the final nail in your coffin. I don't know how upset I'll be if I like bagel tonight and beat you at Thrive. I think it'll be fine for my psyche.
I'll be drunk, so I'll be fine.
That's good. Maybe I'll throw back a couple cocktails too tonight. Maybe I'll start
Also
drinking
stayed
soon.
in like a 5-star hotel in DC tonight because it was somehow like the best deal I could find.
Are you? What are you? Why? What are you doing? You going to the Wizards game?
Yeah, going to the Wizards game.
Oh, okay. I was like, you just for the day, just going to hang out in hotels.
Yeah, no, I'm so committed to my job that I went ahead and booked a hotel so I could do the deeper dive show before the game.
Look at you.
Yeah.
A great worker, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly just gentlemen. I don't have anybody else that I want to talk about from the Suns.
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. Here we go. Miami Heat hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. Heat 107.75 implied total. Really solid defense lately. Bucks 112.25. I think everybody's in for the Heat, which is super not helpful.
Yep.
Yeah. Q tag on Wade. Which, whatever.
Yeah, Waiters gets more minutes probably.
Yeah. Pace up spot at least for the Heat. 6,200 for Richardson on FanDuel, 5,800 on DraftKings. I'm in for some of that. The price is down now finally.
Yeah, the only spot that I'm really interested is like the small forward spot on FanDuel with Richardson and Winslow.
I got 28% Richardson on FanDuel, 24% Winslow on FanDuel. Nobody else more than 8. That was Waiters at 4,100. Who's just, I mean, that's a ridiculous price tag. The prices on some of these guys. Winslow's the same on both sites. Waiters is $600 cheaper on FanDuel. Dragic is $200 cheaper. Olynyk is $100 cheaper. And then we get weird shit like Wade is $5,600 on FanDuel and $4,800 on DK. Right. I like Richardson on both sites. I don't mind the $5,800 on DraftKings either.
I don't mind it. I'd be very surprised if I got much of it.
Yeah, he's
my top DraftKings play from Miami.
I got 23%. We're only projecting 9. I'm not super comfortable with that. What's his is he shooting guard small forward?
Yep.
That'll do it. That's the Swiss Army knife spot. Unless you're one of those weirdos that have point guard small forward, which is a thing that isn't real. You can't skip levels.
Luka.
Yeah, it's just then he's not those two things.
Luka is whatever Luka wants to be.
I'm with you, man. He's his own position. All right, I think that's probably it. Any interest in Bam/Whiteside? Is there anything that could happen previous to this game starting that would change the way that you feel outside of them getting scratched?
I mean, if Whiteside starts at 5,700, then sure.
Okay. Just putting that out there.
Obviously,
like if Bam is out, we clearly like Whiteside.
Yeah, I mean, if I give Whiteside 26, 27 minutes, he becomes a good play. He still doesn't become like the best center play.
Yeah. I went 25-23 Bam. Who the hell knows, though? In that blowout last time, I think they played like 40 minutes together, so I don't even know who played those final 5, probably, or final 8, probably Olynyk. Milwaukee. So you mentioned it earlier, not a great spot for Giannis. Implied total isn't great. Heat's defense has been, pretty solid as of late. Pace down spot for Milwaukee. 11-8 on FanDuel, 10-9 on DK. I got 8% on FanDuel because it's basically impossible to not get someone in that regard. I got just absolutely zero on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean it's not super comfortable to not have the best per minute producer in the league, but it's a slate with a million underpriced guys. Giannis is also underpriced, but Harden is the same price in a better matchup. Yeah, it's if Giannis breaks the slate, Giannis breaks the slate, but it's just really difficult on slates like this for the most expensive player to really break it.
Yeah, he's just like I basically like everybody at lower salaries than him. The only guy that I have him ahead of that shares any sort of overlap in eligibility, I have him by like a hair over DeMar DeRozan, and I don't like DeMar at all, so that tells the story.
I forgot that game was even on the slate.
Yeah. You mentioned Giannis being the best, point per minute guy in the league, and I'm not saying this because like to argue or anything. I have the last 30 days here. He is third right now. Karl Anthony Towns is second in 331 minutes. He's at 1.72 for FanDuel, which is just massive. And then we get this crazy asshole. Anthony Davis in 184 minutes over the last month is at 1.87 FanDuel points per minute. Good Lord.
Yeah.
What happens when you can try really hard for 20 minutes?
It's like
Anthony Davis on the precipice of 2 per minute.
Yeah, it's the relief pitcher in baseball.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. He's basically like the Aroldis Chapman of basketball right now.
Yeah.
Just thought it was like I wanted to point it out because AD's now like normally the first 2 or 3 spots in this pivot table are like Terrence Jones is here at 4 minutes and he's like 6th because like weird guys get to the top. AD's been so crazy that he's playing minutes and passing the guys that have like random ass stats. Insanity. I don't have any other bucks. Like I got 3% Bledsoe.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to really target this game or the next game at all.
Good. Or the next game.
Oh, sorry, 2 games from now.
Okay, I was like, there's no way you mean that. New Orleans Pelicans hosting the Portland Trailblazers. Hit that like button, people. 113.5 implied total for the Pels. 121 for the Blazers. 7.5 point favorites in New Orleans. We'll start on the Pelican side. Julius Randle is 8,500 on FanDuel, 8,300 on DK, $36 on Yahoo. He's priced stupidly on DraftKings, but I like 8,500 on FanDuel.
Who is that for?
Randle.
Yeah.
He's at 24% expected ownership on FanDuel, too.
I mean, he's still playing minutes. He's still productive. Drew Holiday out bumps up his assist percentage. He's at 19% for the season without him on the floor. I have him as a good play on DraftKings also.
Really? So that I'm not getting to. Let me take a look at him.
I have him at 34 minutes.
30 what?
4.
Same. Julius Randle.
For the season without Drew on the floor, he's at 1.27 points per minute. For this game, I have him projected at 1.38.
I just like everybody that's around him better than him.
Yeah.
So like, I think we both agree that we like Drummond more.
Yep.
Okay. We have not gotten to Markkanen yet, but I would go to Markkanen slightly.
Hang on. Let's see.
And the reason that I bring this up, just so that everybody else understands, it really is hard to just look at these guys in a vacuum. You really have to go back and compare to everybody that's around him so we can realize like, oh yeah, maybe he's not as high as we think he is.
Right.
I do it a lot.
Yep, exactly. Like guys can project well but still not be top plays.
Yeah.
I have Randall slightly ahead of Markkanen.
Yeah, this Markkanen is the closest one around him, so I can 1 minute either way would probably flip that. Yep. Blake by a country mile, Nurkic by a mile. I'd probably get to Capella.
I have Blake almost the same when you factor in price.
Really?
Slightly better.
Yeah, that's probably a testament to how much I love Blake today. To be fair, I do have 54% Blake, and he is I think my best play of the day, so there is that caveat. Do you go to any AD 7,800 on FanDuel, 7,100 on DraftKings?
Maybe on FanDuel because their pricing's tighter.
Yeah.
I still just can't see the reason to do it on DraftKings when you have so many guys that can score 60 points today.
Yeah.
I can't really do it that much,
Yeah,
but it's
I'm with you. He needs 50 to go crazy. If this is a 4-game slate, it's different because you start bringing in the total points as a different story. But there's just too many other options. I don't begrudge anyone for doing it because it's probably really fun to cheer for somebody that scores 2 fantasy points a minute.
It's just such a shitty feeling too when you're looking, you're like, oh yes, Anthony Davis is here, and it's going into the fourth quarter, and oh no.
Oh yeah, this number won't go up.
Right.
I don't have much of anything else. A little bit of Peyton, a little bit of Frank Jackson. That's it.
I am definitely higher on Peyton. He's basically Orlando, Alfred Payton without Drew Holiday.
You say that like it's a positive thing.
It's a massive upside thing.
I know what you mean. I'm making a play more on like Alfred Payton, the basketball player,
right?
Like the DFS entity.
Yeah. But I mean, his usage rate without Drew jumps from 18% to 21%. His assist percentage is up to 38% without him on the floor.
How many minutes did you give him?
34.
Okay, that might be the issue for me. I only have him at 32. Let me see if I bump him up. Like I get some. It's not like he was a pass or anything. He kind of exists, and that's basically it.
I have him actually. He has a better play than Chris Paul.
Okay, well now you just don't know what you're talking about. I don't even think you believed what you just said.
Okay, so
no, I have him as a better play than Chris Paul.
No, you're right. So normally I just completely trust my rates and my projections, and if they're wrong, I lose and whatever. On to the next. Last slate, I noticed that when I put in Elfrid Payton's rates without Drew Holiday on the floor, it made him like the best play on the slate against Milwaukee, and I was just like, or I think it was against someone that has a good defense, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And so like I hedged and went like halfway between his rates without Drew and his rates overall this season, and then he like almost triple doubled in the first quarter, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just trust these rates without Drew Holiday.
Yeah. I have him on par with most of the other guys that have point guard eligibility. I don't even have him in the same stratosphere as Chris Paul.
I have him projected for 43 DraftKings points.
Jesus Christ, man. I'm at 36. And even that, like, I get to him, and he grades out really nicely.
I'm not saying I'm super confident in this projection. I'm just saying where I have him. He's played 282 minutes without Drew. He has a 21.7% usage rate, a 38.3% assist percentage, and a 10.5% rebounding percentage.
Yeah, like I get it. I'd still massively prefer Chris Paul.
Maybe if I put Drew or if I put Randall on the floor.
Did you accidentally take Chris Paul off of the slate? Is that what happened here?
No.
How many? So you have Elfrid Payton projected for like 1.2 fantasy points per minute.
1.27.
You know, buddy, that feels a little high.
1.1 for the season without Drew.
I'll look into it a little bit further. I could probably give him a bit of a bump. He's at 9% expected ownership, so if this one pays off for you.
Well, it's not going to pay off for me because I'm not playing. And
nice. Oh, well, now I hope he smashes.
Which is even more of a lock that he's going to score like 55 points.
Yeah, that I'm in for that one. Yeah.
I just changed his rates to what they are with Julius Randle on the floor without Drew, and we're still looking at 43 DraftKings points.
Man, you might be in like the Pelicans brain trust soon.
I have him projected for 14, 12, and 7.
I didn't know I was doing this show with Danny Ferry. I have him in 6% of my lineups right now. I have not like made any tweaks to his rate. So if I get him up a little bit more, I could probably get north of that 9% number.
Yeah. So enjoy sweating 6% of your lineups.
I will. Anybody else here? For Pels?
Nope.
Okay. Portland. Pace up spot. Great defensive matchup. 121 implied total, second highest on the slate. They're in a virtual tie with the Sixers. Dame Lillard is at 9,900 on FanDuel, 9K on DK, 41 on Yahoo. I have some, but I don't have much.
Yeah, it's just tough to pay $9K for Dame Lillard on a slate where you have $6,600 Alfred Payton.
That's perfect timing. So perfect.
In all
but
seriousness,
you're not wrong though.
Yeah, like Payton obviously isn't the example that you would actually use there, but the point stands.
Yeah, the point would be to Chris Paul, I would imagine. What else is around Lillard? Yeah, like
Aaron Fox.
I have Lillard ahead of Harden, Kemba. Nope, I'm saying that wrong. I have him ahead of a lot. Ahead of Ben Simmons, ahead of Booker, ahead of Levine, ahead of Lou Will. I have him behind Harden, Kemba, and Chris Paul.
Yeah, that seems right. I have him as a good play.
Yeah.
But and especially like with DraftKings, if you start crossing positions, 9K Dame or $8,800 Drummond.
Right. It's impossible.
Is he up over 10K on FanDuel still?
99.
I would imagine that maybe I get more of him there just because their pricing is better in general.
He's the most expensive point guard. You go down to 98 on Ben, 92 on Kemba, 84 Paul, 76 Peyton. Yeah, he's a little bit more in play there. Nurk, 8,700 on FanDuel, 7,400 on DK, 31 on Yahoo. He's at 20% expected ownership. I have 10 right now. Talk to me about Nurk.
I love it. It's a nice matchup. I have him at 30 minutes. I think that's pretty much where I always project him. Still at 1.3 points per minute since the trade deadline, just using that as kind of an arbitrary point. But he's been around 1.3 for the season also. $7,400 is just a price tag he should really never be at. He's my favorite guy in that tier. I like him more than Blake.
Yeah, I could not disagree more there. I have Blake projected for like 5.5 more fantasy points.
Cool.
I have Blake at 47. I have Nurkic at 41.7.
I have Nurkic at 43.7. I have Blake at. God, he's so cheap. He's not even on. Yeah, I have Blake at 45. Oh wait, so I do have Blake slightly ahead of Nurkic.
Okay.
I forgot I gave Blake one extra minute.
Yeah, I'm all Blake.
So if I put Blake at 34 minutes, I have him behind Nurkic. If I put him at 35, I have him ahead of Nurkic.
Nurkic is playing the role of Marc Gasol tonight in a guy that stands out pretty well for me that I don't get to all that much because he plays center and only center.
Yeah.
That's all. CJ McCollum is $6,800 on DraftKings. I got 30% of him. I hate myself when I get that much CJ, but I like CJ a lot today. He's 8,200 on FanDuel. I have very much less interest. Why would my wife be calling me? She's downstairs. Talk to me about CJ while I answer this.
Yeah, so I mean, 1 point, a little over a fantasy point per minute for McCollum. It's a good matchup. 25% usage since February 5th, which is 15 games for McCollum. I think I'm lower on him than you are. I think that he's in a vacuum a good play, but I think I'd rather get to guys like Lou Williams. I'd rather get to De'Aaron Fox. I'd rather get to Chris Paul. I'd rather get to Alfred Payton, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a casualty of the slate for me, but
Sure.
I wouldn't, talk anyone off of it.
Okay. Lovely wife of mine was like, I'm going to be stopping at Chick-fil-A later if you want anything. God damn right I do.
Not if it wasn't anything important.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know she left the house. So. Any Aminu, 4,100?
Sure.
Okay, that's it for me.
I do think it's worth pointing out that
Markless.
Not only has Aminu sucked lately, but you would expect his rebounding totals to be worse now that you have Nurkic or Cantor on the floor for 100% of minutes.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Mo Harkless, questionable. Who's the biggest benefactor if Mo Harkless sits?
Jake Layman.
That's what I would have said as well.
At 3,300, that becomes actually pretty appealing.
Yes, it does. No pickles, bruh. Rich Hart, get out of this. No pickles. God, you should go to jail.
Like a person that's completely neutral on pickles on like sandwiches.
What do you mean you're neutral?
I don't like pickles, but it's also like if I don't spend too much time picking them off because I also don't really care if I eat them.
Not liking pickles. I don't like that either.
I mean, I don't like tomatoes. I will take tomatoes off of anything that I eat.
They will never even be ordered with my food. I find tomatoes disgusting.
Yeah.
Do you like tomato products?
I love tomato products.
Yeah, everything but a tomato itself.
Yep.
We are the exact same person then.
But like pickles,
same with my wife. Oddly enough, really
yeah,
weird to meet someone that has the same sort of aversion.
I think it's pretty common.
Really?
Yeah. Like I definitely know a lot of people like that. Maybe that's just how I select my friend groups, but I know a lot of people.
Honestly, it's probably not the worst barometer in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like pickles and onions, if they're on stuff, like like burgers or sandwiches or whatever, it's like I wish they weren't there. I wish I thought to order it without them, but I also don't care enough to even bother taking them off usually.
Onions are. I hate onion. I like the flavor of an onion. I hate the texture of an onion.
Okay.
No?
I don't.
I don't like the crunch. I don't like
Okay.
wet like I don't like lettuce because it's wet crunch. Those two things don't go together in my head. Same for onions.
Gotcha.
Both of those foods are like 95% water.
Alright.
And water should never crunch in my mouth unless it's ice.
Okay. So do you like ice?
Well, yeah, of course.
Okay.
I hate the 5% of lettuce that's not water. Fuck vegetables is the moral of this story. Okay. 2 games left. I don't know, I'm about out of it, so it's good that I don't do anything on Saturdays.
At least one of these games is the Knicks and the Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs hosting the New York Knicks. 114.5 implied total for the Spurs. 101 for the Knicks. Dead last. This team sucks. Let's talk about the Spurs first. A team which I barely have, which is honestly surprising to me, but I'm very happy about it. Aldridge, 9K on FanDuel, 8,600 on DraftKings. I got 1% on FanDuel and none on DK. Do you have interest in LaMarcus Aldridge?
Not really. It's just hard to get to Aldridge over Markkanen, Randall, Blake, 12 other guys we've talked about.
A salad spinner would blow Josh's mind. I have a salad spinner. I don't know. I use it to dry off mushrooms.
Mushrooms are good.
Yeah. Well, both kinds. I'm an advocate of both. DeMar DeRozan, 9,500 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DraftKings, 39 on Yahoo. I have none on both sites.
Seems fine.
Okay. I have a little bit of Rudy Gay at 6,300 on FanDuel. That's basically it for me here. I don't have anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, on DraftKings, Derek White actually grades out as the top guy for me from the Spurs. Oh, sorry, Aldridge and then White, but like comparable. But compared to other guys that aren't on the Spurs, they are pretty far back.
This is just, I don't want to be here. Not the show, the Spurs.
Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe?
He's the one that tweeted, "I don't want to be here."
Oh, okay. I was like, dude, we are not on the Bucks. Did he get traded? Like, I just couldn't catch up there. San Antonio Spurs are just a team that basically not on the slate for me.
Yep.
Knicks. I got Dennis Smith, 11% on FanDuel. I don't have anybody higher than that number on either site, but pricing is wonky here. Mitchell Robinson is 6,400 on FanDuel, 57 on DK. Completely not in play on either site, but that is a pretty big price discrepancy. Do you like any Knicks?
No, the one guy that I have the highest is $4,200 Moutier. And that's with Smith projected in. If Smith's out, then you get probably a really popular Emmanuel Moutier in facing the Spurs.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, 4,200 for him. He at least has some upside. He should get mid-20s minutes regardless of Smith. If Smith's in, if Smith's out, he should get more. So he'd be the guy for me. But again, I'm comparing him to other Knicks. I'm not comparing him to the slate.
Dylan Evans. Yeah, wash mushrooms. They don't get soggy. That's a myth. Anyway, I hate the Knicks. Does Hazonia being in matter to you?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No, because if he wasn't going to take minutes, you'd have the same risk that someone else could. It's still the Knicks.
Yeah, like just don't do this to yourselves, people. Final game. The Los Angeles Clippers hosting the Chicago Bulls. Late night hammer spot. Actually, do we have... Let's do a Thrive prop quick from that previous game. DeMar DeRozan. Points plus assists. 27.5 is the number. You get 105 for the over.
Points plus assists?
Correct.
I have 28.6.
I have 28.3. I would lean towards the over. Not sure it would be one of my 10 or not.
Yeah.
Tune in to find out, where we can watch Adam go 0 for 5 on the 5 props that we don't overlap on. You did beat me on one of the only overlap we had that we were on both opposite sides, though.
Bradley Beal.
You know. I immediately opened it up and he was at 4, and I think it was 5.5. I was like, shit. I was like, this is not a place where I want to have a 200-point swing right out of the gate. Turns out it didn't matter because you couldn't get shit right. Oh, God, so satisfying. Massive total for the Clippers here. Late night hammer spot. We'll start with Lou Will. 7,700 on FanDuel, 7,100 on DraftKings. I have him in the high teens for ownership. That's where he is for the public. I just kind of want to be around there. It's Lou Will.
I agree with you.
Over under 10 times Josh has brought up sweeping Adam. I hope it's over. Montrezl Harrell, 7,500 on FanDuel, 6K on DK. I have quite a bit of Harrell here. He's a little popular on DK at 19%. I'm over that number. Not popular at all on FanDuel, just 5%. But I have like triple that. How do you feel about Harrell?
I think the price tag's too low for his upside in tournaments. Like, I don't think there's any reason to be getting to him in cash games.
Agreed.
Or at least to be prioritizing him. Like, if you end up with him, it's fine, I think. But in tournaments, I mean, the guy can go for 40 plus at 6K.
Yep. Yeah, I love him. He would be my favorite play from the Clippers today. Gallo, I assume, is in 7,200 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings. I'll have somewhere around the field. He's not a priority. He's just a guy that I would want to make sure I have.
Agreed. He has been real good since the trade, but like 1.2 points per minute, 27.5% usage, slight bump in rebounding and assist percentages as well. So I do think he's a good play. Probably a little better on FanDuel since pricing's tighter and he's a small forward.
Yeah. If I get to any Beverly, I'm okay with it. I don't love it. If I get to any Gilgeous-Alexander on DK, it's just 4,000. I'm okay with it. But the main priority for me is Harold and Williams, then Gallo.
Yep. I would add Zubats to that list too, where I don't think I really get there, but if I did, I don't.
Yeah, I got 8% right now, so I'm with you.
Obviously, don't play him with Harold.
Right. Bulls, pace up spot, but not. They're the Bulls. Markkanen is 7,800 on FanDuel, 8K on DraftKings, so $200 more expensive. $31 on Yahoo. I got 43% Markkanen on FanDuel. That $7,800 price tag is really nuts.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, he's been playing like shit lately, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot to me.
Nope, not at all. I love Markkanen. I'm going to have a bundle on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I'll be a little north of the field. I think 8K is still too low of a price tag for his skill set, but I'm not as crazy about it.
I agree.
Levine, 82 and 78, FanDuel and DK respectively. I'll have some, no priority.
Yeah, really tough for me to get there when you compare him to, Kemba Walker and Devin Booker and
go ahead, do it.
Paul and Alfred Payton.
There you go. You send that cat you lineups today for the one. I don't know what that says. Otto Porter, 7K on FanDuel, 6,700 on DraftKings, 29 on Yahoo. I don't have too much interest in that $6,700 price tag, but 7K on FanDuel for Otto Porter at small forward looks pretty damn good.
I agree again.
Yeah, I have 27% Porter there. Just really easy to get to. I mean, like, you save $4,800 off of Giannis. And there's a lot of other decent shit to pay up for.
Yep.
I think that's probably it.
That's it for me.
Bulls?
Yeah,
Anybody else?
I mean, just because I know Lofty will do it on the show later. Robin Lopez has been playing really well lately. Blah 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 blah. Still not playing Robin Lopez.
There we go. Oh man, I like this slate more than I did when I started.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed that I'm not playing it.
You should be. It will be your only chance at success today. All right, we've got the Awesemo Odds betting show coming up at 11:30. We have Lofty with the deep dive coming out mid-afternoon. Deeper dive. Adam and Lofty going through this one again. There's so much news that's in flux that make sure you're tuning in there. Then live before lock, Chris Baggs, Fast Eddie Fear, taking you all the way up to 7 o'clock. Today, Game 4, head-to-head, the Thrive contest, myself and Adam. Adam gets closed out today, just full-on swept. We'll have to find something else that Adam can beat me in after that.
DraftKings and FanDuel.
Oh, God, that one stings so bad. Thrive people, if you're listening and you put that head-to-head up, since Adam will inevitably not join that in time, use a different password and let us know what it is. Apparently people had no problem guessing the fact that the first one was Awesemo. I want to know how long it took every single person to get that right, because I assume it was the first try across the board. Alrighty, guys. Adam, anything else?
How bored do you have to be trying to guess the password into our like $2 Thrive head-to-head?
Apparently quite bored, because I think it filled twice before we got to it. And then we got yelled at for it. I joined one of them, and then somebody joined against me, but that wasn't you.
I was really confused when I was the first one to join because I knew I'd forgotten for like 5 hours.
Yeah. I got in one, and I went and was like, oh, nice. And I looked at it, and I was like, oh, that's not him. Alrighty, everybody. Hit the like button. There we go. Ooh, okay. I don't know. After the video ends, in the comment section, let us know your favorite toppings for a burger or chicken sandwich, whether it's pickles, fried onions, sauteed mushrooms, ranch, horseradish, etc. So there you go. Let us know your burger or chicken sandwich toppings. Comments. Hit that like button. We're out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Bye.